Welcome back to another episode of the G.R.I.T.S Code. Hey. Of course, I'm Julian. We have Earl and Tadian, and obviously we are joined by two very, very special guests today. We have the Littles with us. Y'all give it up for them.
Make some noise, audience!
We're so excited to have y'all on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank y'all for coming out. Y'all have had a crazy travel schedule, as we all know.
Literally, yeah.
So listen, that's how we do it. You know, we have to stay busy.
You only live once, and I live by that. Like, you truly only live once. So I know he probably gets tired of me sometimes because I'm like, okay, bus club, another club. I like being business.
Well, thank you for adding us to that very busy calendar.
Of course.
We really just obviously are just infatuated. Love your story. Love what you all put out into the world, and just so happy to have a queer couple on our show, like black couple on our show.
Married couple.
Right, married. It's really like genuinely an honor to have you all as a part of our story now. To have you all immortalized on the G.R.I.T.S Code like platform. So
thank you.
First things first. We want to dive in a little bit into your individual stories. Okay, so can you tell us and share with our audience a little bit about your individual backgrounds and how those backgrounds have shaped your identities as Black and
Okay, so I grew up actually in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was born in Presbyterian Hospital, so I'm actually from Charlotte.
There you go.
Born and raised in this area, went to school in Gastonia, so I do consider myself to be a Southern boy at heart. So that's a huge part of my identity, like, you know, how the South is, like, you know, being raised in the Bible Belt as a Black Christian was like at the forefront of my identity. So a huge chunk of my life, I think that I was just trying to understand exactly who I was in relation to all of that, knowing deep down inside that I was gay, but like never having exposure, honestly, to gay people. It was hard for me to kind of figure out who I was in spaces that were like overwhelmingly white and overwhelmingly straight and Christian. So I think that growing up, I just was always kind of like looking for who I was, and I feel like I didn't really figure that out until I was in college. Went to Elon University, go Phoenix.
There you go.
And that's how I really started to come into myself, but I was still playing the like super religious card. So I mean, I'm a very spiritual person, and I love God, and I feel like now I have a really great relationship with God. But at that time, I was really starting, you know, I was away from home, and you know, when you're away from home, you have, you know, temptations, you know. I'm like, I want to date now. Like, what does romance look like to me? So I think that in college was just like such a explorative time for me, and I got to travel. I did this program called Semester at Sea, which really opened up my eyes to the world and just like cultured me a lot. And I think that when I got back from that program, I was like, okay, like it's okay to be who I am and authentically me. And like I started to do like a quiet coming out, but I didn't come out until I was like 23, 24. So after college, moved to LA, came out there, went to my first G.R.I.T in San Francisco, and then moved to Charlotte and met this man, and he completely changed my life again because this is my first relationship. So I kind of got lucky where it's like first boyfriend, first husband. So like, yeah, as soon as I came out, I was like, within the year, I was in my first real relationship, and then within the next 2 years, we were engaged, and now we've been married for 2. So, you know, Southern boy that went off to college, found himself in college, and was able to kind of grow up from there. And then I felt like it came to completion, or it really like came full circle whenever we met.
A whole renaissance. For me, I came out a little earlier. My identity per se grew up in Dayton, Ohio. Grandmothers, family, they're from Watson, Mississippi. Mississippi. And then also from Stone Mountain, Georgia. So I got the South in the home up there. But I always knew I was a little different. How different, I didn't know, because I was, of course, as we all were told to put in one box. But I'm a rebel at heart, so I always chose to go against the grain at every given moment. I think I found that moment my senior year of high school when I decided to explode out of the closet. Knowing consequence, I had backup plans, I always got backed up. So if something didn't go right, I knew I was always going to be in a position to lie about it, because that's how much I saw fit for myself. In 12th grade, it seems that, right? But after I went to college, went to OSU, it exploded. I wanted to get involved with community. I felt like I had gotten myself into a position where I'm so open and comfortable with myself. How can I help other people? So riding that wave, I ended up moving down here as soon as I graduated. I feel like I'm Charlene now at this point. Like I can't see it any other way. And then, of course, 2019, I feel like my first official adult relationship that luckily first and last. And it evolved so quickly. I've transcended who I was into the person who I really was seeking out to be at the time, where I truly didn't understand at the time. So that's what we did.
And so much of the journey, like that you all just mentioned, is about like uncovering and rather removing a lot of the things that the world, family, your community, Black or otherwise, they tell you to mask up as. So you're really peeling back some of those layers to get to that person, to like find who it is that you always probably felt like you were, but that person that the world said that you shouldn't be. And I feel like that is in both of your lives. I mean, really all of our lives, like that's kind of the work for us.
Yeah.
You know?
Finding that innate self.
Yeah.
Which is like the ultimate quest of life.
Literally.
And like to take that journey and not focus on the destination of it, but allow the journey to be open enough to it, where you have these arrivals along the way of the journey. And to say that work individually for you all, but also collectively, is very beautiful.
And that's another huge point where I really want to make is when we met each other, we were both synchronized in who we were in the foundation. So we didn't look for additional qualities which we wanted out of ourselves. We were like, hey, we're meeting each other here. What can we collectively take what we have and put together?
Come on, foundation. Solid. Okay, so talk to us about, you have the Southern influence you got some rooted Southern influence. You're born and raised in the South. How has that shaped you and who you are today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I've ever thought about that, like, in that framework. But I think that being in the South, I feel like we're known for our Southern charm, and I'm really learning that in my adulthood, because everywhere I do a lot of business in like New York and San Francisco, and the energy that I bring is so much different than people that are from like New York or LA or anything like that. Like I feel like it is, Southern charm is a real thing. So I always get told that like I have a charming personality. I think it's because of my roots in the South, and also like I'm super family oriented. I think that being in the South, like you lay down strong roots with your family. So like my sister, my mom, I'm always over the house, always in contact. Like that's what really connected us, is that we were both so family oriented. I could never be with someone who doesn't have a good relationship with their family. And he did, and I think that was one of the reasons why he liked me at first as well too. So that's another huge like Southern influence that I feel like comes from both sides. And yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, Charlotte is always gonna feel like home to me. No matter where I go, I always miss the South. And it's interesting because obviously the South comes with a whole other side of it being like Black. So I think that has been another thing that I've been trying to like, it's hard because I have a lot of pride being a Black black gay man from the South, but like also people will hate you for it. But like I think that the older that I get, you know, I used to hear a lot about like black people being racist or like all these microaggressions, but I'm like, now I have such a great community and like I value myself a lot more to like not even put energy into people that don't like me or that are judging me because I'm black or whatever, gay or you know whatever. I know who I am and I feel grounded in who I am, I feel confident in who I am. So I think that if anything, I'm just embracing being black and gay myself.
For me, I think it's charmed in the level of resilience that the South brings. I mean, it literally goes back to slavery in a way. How family oriented we are. My grandmother was closely contacted and connected with everybody. She would get on the phone every Sunday and call up everybody. They were all talking amongst each other as sisters. So that foundation has never left. And I find myself when we go out the country or go to different states, there's always a part of me that's craving home, that's craving South, that's craving that charm of her literal essence, even though she wasn't born up there, you know. The charm that her grandmother and her mother went through resided within her, and it's part with us. Yeah, the roots really, really. So collectively, I feel like everywhere we go, that piece always carries with us.
It is intrinsic to the South, like you both mentioned, the charm, even the charisma of Southerners, right? Like how we take up space. If you're traveling for work elsewhere, people notice that. And I think it is something that I also love about just being a Southerner, you know.
Just start a conversation every time.
It's a conversation. We know how to talk to people, you know, like, you know,
Southern hospitality is amazing. I think that that's part of the reason why we have grown our influence online is because like we genuinely just care about people and we care about each other. And we, even when we're hosting the dinners and everything like that, like we truly are people of servitude. So if somebody comes over our house, like they are not gonna have empty glass, they're gonna have full plate, they're gonna be hugged, loved on. Like those are the things that we really care about. So.
Well, already. No, just on topic. I love this. So I want to ask a question here, and for both of you to answer individually. Present day, what are you learning about yourself?
That's a great question. So this has been like such a transformational season in my life. This whole year has been crazy. Like I got into grad school this year, go to Duke University. Thank you. And I feel like I've been learning so much about myself through that process. Just about like how strong I really am, because I've been like really taking myself to my limits just to kind of see where we can go. Because I feel like I don't know what it is about being 29, but I have so much clarity now. I feel like I grew up the majority of my life like being very confused about everything. Like starting off with the gayness and what I discovered earlier about being gay in the South and black and like not being able to understand who I was in relation to the South. But now I'm like fully aware of who I am and I know my weaknesses, I know my strengths, and I feel like there's no excuse anymore. So I think that this year I've just been trying to like test my limits and see what I'm really capable of. And you know, he calls me a manager / workaholic, but like I really am obsessed with just becoming a better person. And to me, that has manifested in really like working on the details of my life. Because I feel like sometimes I have been very like big picture. It's like I know I want to do this, but what are the steps A to Z to get there? I've been focusing on the A to Z recently and really trying to like be about it in my day-to-day life and like know that if I'm trying to get X, Y, and Z accomplished, these big picture things, I'm gonna have to really get in the field and work. And I've been really enjoying that recently. So I think that if anything, I've just been challenging myself to, even in my quiet moments, like how I talk to my dog, like how I treat my husband whenever I'm stressed. It's like even the moments where you feel like you should be losing all control, I am intentional about those moments and how I respond to those moments because that's where it really matters. It's like the details. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, let me paint a picture first because I kind of speak in metaphors sometimes.
Love to paint a picture.
So
You going?
imagine the feeling that you had, the anticipation, the worry, and the angst when you first came out to yourself at the time. Well, it's almost the same here. I'm 32. So at this point in my life, I think all things that encompass peace and what that means has been a journey that I've been on probably for the last 6 years. Knowing what's important and what's not. Definitely family has become more important. They're getting older. We're segueing into the leadership foundation of our family now. Even like quiet places just to meditate on thoughts where we're always against the busy day. Just having a moment where you can literally sit down with yourself and like get to know, explore different parts of yourself. Sometimes I just want to dig back into the nostalgic part of me, which I wanted to protect as a child. So if I want to go into coloring for that moment in time that brings me joy, maybe go into that. So I'm learning just to take a lot more days to self-reflect and come within, per se, and just experience peace instead of worrying about every little thing that's really not important, but society tells us that you should make this important for me today.
It's a no for me to all. Yeah.
He's literally the most like peaceful person in the world, and he's so intentional about peace. That's part of the reason why I have a lot of respect for you. Honestly, it's like I'm stressed out half the time, and he's able to kind of like create a zen environment for us, so that we can truly like thrive. And I feel like if I didn't have that, I'll drive myself crazy.
It sounds like you just relinquished anxiety. Like it just has no room. I love that.
Literally, yeah.
Because it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah, it is gonna be, and that's what I'm learning as I get older. If it's out of your control, then why are you stressing out about it? But I'm just now learning that, like, just now. So, yeah.
It is life changing and life saving to surrender to it. Like I think we know it theoretically, but to surrender to that as a practice is beautiful. And like what's on the other side of that as well. I love how you just took the moment to also like affirm. That's one of the things I appreciate about you, and I think the reason we connect out right now. Like I thought that was so beautiful. Take us back to how did you two meet? So like, tell us that story.
Paint the picture.
Well, speaking
Literally.
painting the picture, I was doing an art show around this time. I was one of the head artists there, and this gentleman had come up to me, and you know, I love to have a little banter about art because it always paints a different perception, and it gives me a key insight about how a person thinks their life. I look at every level. So after that conversation went so great, I invited him out. I was like, no, let's continue this energy. Let's have some drinks. The drinks were flowing, and so were the conversations. I said, okay, keep up. Like, okay. And then after that, what sealed it for us was there's an event called Sukasa.
Shout out to Sukasa.
Okay, shout out.
Yeah.
So we went there, and I saw he wasn't afraid to dance, and it was almost like everything was moving in slow motion. And I had this person in front of me, and I was like, this is scary, and things are moving really fast tonight, but it feels so natural. It feels so calming, it feels so normal. And it's literally become our life into fruition that one night.
Literally moved fast, and then it was like, boom, married. Like I swear, it was like we were together 3 weeks later, like together, real bad spending every day together. And then, you know, what really like solidified it was we were actually long distance for a bit. We were long distance for 6 months. I lived in Oakland, and he still lived here. And
That's like, oh, it's okay.
no, so we really had to like show the dedication. And it was just like we had the time difference working against us. Like there were just a whole bunch of stuff happened. Like I was going into a new job. There was like life drama happening, and at every point we could have broken up. But we chose each other consistently every single time something came up, it was never like me versus him. It was like us versus the situation. And that's how I knew that I am not my person. Because it was never like we've always been good. It's more so like life comes and like brings a whole bunch of I don't know, because
You
bullshit. Literally. So it's just like that's why I feel like we're so strong together is because we tackle the issues together versus the issues versus taking it on each other. So that's what solidified it for me. Intention. Yeah. You know, that's my word.
Okay. Oh, Lord. Speaking of that, I just have to bring that into the conversation. So when we first started to date, another thing that really solidified it was he was so intentional in conversation. So he asked me, "What are we?" I know something as simple as that. It's like, it's a big deal, but out of all the people I've dated, no one's ever asked me or wanted to reaffirm, like, what actually are we? What are we doing? How far is this going? And once he affirmed that, I was like, I guess we're a thing. And that's collectively what started to, I always say it, like you had to peel me back like an onion. Because we all come with our layers. But it was establishing safety. And it's always a layer of establishing safety.
Yeah. He's big on safety, so that's just it's been me learning how to like keep it the safest. So
Well, hold up. Something in there.
Yeah,
I know you want it.
yeah, it's good. That's so good. That's so good. But it's also so deep. And like I think it's beautiful. Earl Julian has been very reaffirming of like amplifying the voice of not just black gay men, but black gay married men in love. And I think it's in these real conversations I'm realizing how much that narrative I miss. And haven't been exposed to it in such a beautiful, healthy way. So like internally I'm like bawling right now. I'm doing all the things right now. The waterworks are happening. So I'm just sitting with that, yeah.
Yes. I do want to go ahead and ask you guys. I know you mentioned like earlier in the relationship, kind of the time difference and some other things were going on that were some obstacles that you had to overcome. Now, or maybe even just recently, what are some things that you're finding yourself facing that you're doing a good job of overcoming together in terms of your relationship?
There's a new challenge every day. I feel like
It doesn't have to be heavy or serious. It could be something like the gym that we all just install.
Well, I feel like honestly, a lot of the challenges that we face currently is time. Time is so precious these days because you always kind of daydream about what is your dream life like? What does that look like? And then your dreams are handed to you, and then you're like, I don't have any time. Everything like from whether it is like I always wanted to be active on social media, have a presence there. Now that we have that comes with so much responsibility. Like I'm negotiating like brand deals and all this stuff like on one phone, other phone I'm doing schoolwork and turning in managerial accounting papers, and then on the other end I'm like running a video team for one of the biggest companies in the world. Like it is a lot of stuff that is going on at all points. So it's just like, how can I continue to make my husband feel like he's a priority? And that is kind of something that is very important to me because I'm like, I always have something to do, but I want to make sure that you feel safe and supportive and loved, and like you want to keep the marriage alive. Because I feel like where people slip is like when they let kind of their job or their responsibilities become their purpose. But I'm like, I want my purpose to be my marriage, but I want my purpose to be like love and family, like who I am to the people that mean the most in my life. So I think that is kind of where I sorry, losing track.
No, that's where you landed with that question.
Yeah.
No, and I can imagine. Obviously, just imagining this. My ring is on this finger, not this finger.
Yeah.
Just like the balancing act of that.
Yeah.
folks who talk about that have been married for 20, 30, 50 years, right? Like, how do you balance that? So maybe I should just ask you, do you all think about what role models you have for your relationship, for your idea of
I'm going to answer this very difficultly as I my role models that I've seen in my life are my grandparents. Strong foundations of what I see in others. Was it different for their time? Absolutely it was. Was there a presence for me to look at as far as a man in my life? No. So I feel like we almost had to play the position and be the blueprints for what we wanted, based on taking bits and pieces of the love that we saw around us and taking the things that we liked. And it was almost challenging at the beginning, real moment, where we compared so many to us that it was starting to get stark and diluted, and like, this isn't what we want, what they have. So we had to realize we're carving out what we want, and what this looks like may not always look great to everyone else. But if we're surviving in it, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
You guys said that perfectly.
You ate that.
Okay, so let's build on that. So how have y'all navigated that in context to what society deems as masculinity and sexuality? How have y'all shaped y'all's
You
relationship?
ate that.
Absolutely. I was still like, ooh, you know.
Well, you know, everybody's always like, who's good in a relationship?
He's looking at me.
And I'm like, we're literally like two men and it ebbs and flows. That's the crazy thing about it. It's like, there are things that I'm super traditional masculine about. And then within the millisecond, I could be on my feminine way. So it's just like, I think that the beautiful thing about our household is that we truly have a household that plays into each other's strengths versus what we feel like, oh, you should be doing dishes or you should be paying bills, it's just like, are you good at this thing? Go do this thing, and it provides freedom.
Yeah.
So I think that is kind of what works for us right now.
Absolutely. And, you know, again, with what I stated earlier, I came out a little bit early, so I got to know myself, and the balance of masculinity and femininity is definitely there. Femininity is a little more outwardly shown, but that's okay. You know, I can cut grass and still do ballet. I play football and I cook. So it's all a mixed component. So when we first got together, I wanted to be reassuring that I want both of these sides for you. So if you want to paint your nails one day, or you know, if you want to come in the gym in a muscle shirt, I'm all needs to you. Because like you were saying, it's like I want to be the adult that protects the child part of him, and that should always come out. I never want that to overshadow the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is exhausting. This is supposed to be home. This is supposed to be comfortable. So let this.
Chann, he over here. You got that process.
That's so good.
You're thinking about the adult and me protecting the child. That's going to play. It's going to play for all of us. There's so much there.
And wanting to be an active participant in that experience for someone else. It's like, oh God.
That's partnership.
That's partnership.
Right.
Yeah, and as you were talking, I was reminded of a quote that I recently heard from Oprah.
Yeah.
You would be mad at Oprah sometimes. I'm like, I'm mad at Oprah.
Look, give grace.
Yeah, we love Oprah right here.
Oprah wants to change my life.
Yes, literally. And she said, as you come home to yourself, may your porch be lined with flowers from every previous version of who you were. Right? It's how somebody helped line that porch with you.
Beautiful.
A blessing. Right? I love that. I want to go here, and I also want to give this one to you. That's like you already tapped danced on this. Earlier I asked, what are you learning about yourself present day? But what are you learning about him present day?
Oh.
Very singular indeed. I think what I'm learning from Chann, everything's a constant learning experience, but I feel like at this point, I'm learning that when this man wants to take on the world, he means it. There isn't just him talking about it, there's motion that happens with it. So I thought to myself, well, what does that look like specifically for me in the role that I play within his life? And I find that with any waking moment, he wants me there to support him. And that's different than me like needing to be there. This is a person who wants me to be the stability in some of those uncomfortable moments. So I'm finding myself being like more excited to evolve myself in helping us, essentially.
Can I keep going? Go ahead. Evolving us. Let's take that us to a more collective, communal conversation. So you currently serving as like creative fellows for like the G.R.I.T.S campaign. Really, really dope. In what ways do you feel it's important to amplify the voices of our lived experience as Black women in the South, and particularly how has that shown up in this scope of like your role with the national election as well?
Yeah, I think that is so important because people have so many misconceptions about Black gay men, and they want to put us in a box. And I feel like I exist to break down people's perception of like, one, what is a normal life? Like, because I feel like I live a normal life to me, but it may not be a normal life to whoever. But like, I feel like as a Black gay man, I want to show up into these spaces, especially whenever you have literally world leaders looking at you, and just leave an impression that is authentic. Never going in and like trying to be anything but me. Whenever we walk into these rallies, we are fully on our energy, and we're not trying to play like button up or like super professional or anything like that. We're truly just being ourselves, and we are so loved on and respected, and you know, the G.R.I.T.S team is like amazing to work with, and they genuinely like care about us as people as well. And I feel like it's so easy to show up as our authentic self in those spaces and just truly just shine like the Black gay men that we are unapologetically, because I feel like we have lived our whole existence up until this point, these last few years, of like dimming our lights and being told like who we should be. And recently I feel like we've been able to kind of like reclaim our time, show up into spaces saying I'm not changing a thing about myself, you either take it or leave it. And people are accepting and loving it. So it's empowered us to be able to just move differently. Like we truly feel like we can move out ourselves now, and it's a powerful thing to experience.
And also like receiving feedback on our social media, and what is it that Peter Parker said, who inspired me, if y'all familiar with great power comes great responsibility. Well, at first, that was a little scary, only because there are so many people looking up to us. Like even my little cousin at our wedding, it was such a beautiful sight to see, came out dancing, and it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Just experiencing that, and you know, just from us literally living our lives and being us, it was a little scary, only because people look for the blueprint of what it is, but I always tell people just literally be yourself. Whatever that means for you, go through that journey, you're gonna find it.
And you can inspire so many people by just being yourself, because I feel like we live in a society that people who just want to assimilate and be like everybody else. I mean, even with the rise of TikTok, it's just like everybody's following a trend, everybody's trying to do copy and paste. So the one person out of the millions of people that are just trying to be like the one other person, think about the influencers, like think about the people that are actually making the trends, they're doing something different. Mm-hmm. So I decided to just do my own thing and just truly be me, and it's working out. It really is.
Good. And I mean, I have two thoughts initially. On your previous point, just where you all are at, like in your own journeys, specifically as it relates to like the various walls work that you all been doing. What a moment to be like alive and to like be included, right? In moments like this, that in and of itself is historic, you know? And just some remarkable progress. I mean, there's plenty to fight against, just politically, geopolitically, but it really is a marker of like how far we've come. That those sorts of limitations are making their way to us seriously, like the real us. Not the us that have been like, you know, plugged in or just know somebody. Like they're really getting honest, authentic folks to be a part of this really worldwide movement to be more diverse, to be equitable, to be inclusive. So that in itself, I feel like it's just so awesome. It's super gratification.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it is like it feels like, cause I'm not just gonna do anything for the recognition or the check or whatever. It's like I want to work with people that I actually believe in, and I truly believe in this team, and I feel like they are kind of what we were talking about earlier. Everything I love about the South is like not what I love about the Los Angeles. Like they truly put people first. It feels very family oriented, and they have vision. It feels like they want to bring people in, get to know the real them, and love on them. And I think that or like elevate them to new heights. And I feel like that's kind of what they've done for us, even in this short campaign run. Like I feel like our lives have been changed for the better because of it. So if anything, we're just very grateful.
Hey, the core of that is just recognizing the humanity that we all share. Listen, there you go. I do want to ask you all a question. Kind of to that point, technically, once this is released, it'll be after the big election day. But, do y'all have any election day predictions that you want to immortalize on the platform? Any just general thoughts or messages for folks after election day? Things for folks to consider and think about.
Yeah, I think that, you know, things go our way. VP Harris will be the first Madam President. And I think that that should be the new direction of our country. Like, I think that this is so important in the times that we're in right now because it feels like we are in a transition. And I feel like if it goes our way, it's like the sky is the limit for people that look like us. And that's just so exciting to see. Like, I think that during our campaign speech yesterday, I literally was brought to tears during like several moments because I'm thinking about how this little, you know, Black and Indian girl could potentially be the next president of the United States. That's insane to me. And it inspires me so much because we are literally sitting in front row watching her happen. So it's just like, that's so symbolic. So it's just so exciting thinking about like where we could really go. And like oftentimes I feel like I sell myself short. I feel like we all do. And to see moments where you can actually see examples of what life could be, it's like, of course, just not been told a million times that, oh, you can never be the this or that. You can never be the vice president. You can never, but she continues to prove people wrong. And I think that that's so beautiful. So I hope that, you know, after the election, we get our way and we all start to build towards a more bigger, beautiful, aspirational life that we couldn't even imagine. So that's my hope for us.
And most importantly, after the election, keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
The work is
just
not
start
done.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just starting.
So continue to be involved.
That's a great point too. And like you mentioned, I always tell people like that election, that should be like the starting point for people's involvement. A lot of people think about that as the finish line for, you know, whatever it is. So that really is like a starting point. Like you're starting by saying, this is who I want to see in office, but so much more happens after that.
Right.
So yeah, it's very salient.
Honestly, it's building the team.
Yeah.
It's building the team. The race hasn't even started. You build your team, and now we're gonna see how far we can go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to pivot because you talk about like loving on you and feeling like a family. I want to go back to family and also include like chosen family. How important has family played y'all's role in your relationship around support and just loving on you?
Everything.
Okay.
Absolutely everything. One of the key components which I had as a wire for our relationship to happen was I really wanted to know how my family felt about me. So he was almost getting introduced to like the final boss of the video game. He got to meet my grandmother who passed away. And that was a life-changing moment for me because I never brought anyone around my family because I said, like, that's my core. So you gotta be about something if you're around that. So the fact that they took him in with open arms, and of course he's thinking of pescatarian. My grandmother was like, Chann, I heard a little bit about you, so I brought some chicken out because I know you don't like I'm baked with chicken. Right. Literally. Support was there for my entire family, and that felt so good. And vice versa with this. Like, it's literally a combined family with what we went through together.
Yeah.
Very fortunate to have that.
But that's the idea behind marriage, and it's beautiful to see that that's happening in your real lives. Like, it really is a nurture. And hey, we can only hope and pray that everybody's so fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of who we are. It's like, it's kind of hard for me to answer that question because it is such a big part of our identities. But I also know that, like, I have friends that have come out to their families and they haven't been accepted. So I think that you said, chosen family, and I think that that's why it's important to choose your own family in a lot of different ways too. Because we have a built-in amazing family, but we also have a chosen family that is just as amazing and important and impactful in our lives. Like my best friend, like without her, I would not be able to like operate and exist to operate. I can talk to her about anything. Like we don't have any secrets. Like it just feels good to have that type of chosen family too. And I think that in this new season of life, I'm now open to gaining even more family because I think that I had gone through a time of friends where like I didn't know who I could trust and like there was some trauma there and I was like, no friends, I don't need no friends. And now I think that after being introduced to so many new incredible people that have felt like family, it makes me want to expand the family now. Because I'm like, why can't we just be one big happy family? Like that's my goal. It's just like, why are we always tripping in the world? Like we could just truly not trip and just be a big happy family. Like that would be the ideal situation. Yeah. I know that's aspirational, but I'm like, why can't we?
It's about quality over quantity these days.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that goes into today.
Hello.
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
It's not a boundary. I love boundaries.
I love that.
Capricorn's here.
Oh yeah.
Baby, I know stuff he's.
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cancer.
Okay.
Total opposite sides of the spectrum.
My best friend is Cancer.
Oh,
Yeah, so like I'm laughing, like I'm listening to y'all, I'm like, look at myself. But like,
Oh yeah.
Love that. Am I rapping this?
oh
I
yeah.
have a good ending question, but you go ahead.
I'll ask you because I mean, my question. So I'm curious about like how you. I know earlier we talked about your role models, and you all also talked about picking a few things, but just ultimately deciding we're doing our own thing, we're charting our own path here. However, you have a really grand platform, right? And so there are young folks looking up to you. I like to call them the babies, the gabies, and the babies. They're all looking up, and I would just want you to send a message to them. If they're really dedicated to being in love, finding love, of course with themselves, but with someone else, what messages do you have for those folks?
Oh wow, that's so important. And it's so timely because we were just having this conversation because it was family weekend at Duke and we were at a university event and we were the oldest people there because it was all undergrads.
Isn't it crazy how that happens?
Yeah, and we were like, how do we get here? But also, it was so crazy to see people that were like 18 and 19 up close, like seeing them socially, and just being so like, wow, it's gonna be okay. Like, and I think that it was, I was looking at it from like a more emotional perspective because it almost made me want to go back and hug my like 18, 19-year-old self and let him know that it was gonna be okay. And that's my message to y'all. Like, I know that life can get stressful and there's so much pressure and there's so many people around you that seem to be doing so many amazing things and you are comparing yourself and asking why not me. And like, if I'm sitting on this couch, I'm telling you that you will be okay and you will get everything that this life has for you as long as you feel like you're worthy to get it. I think that like one thing that I'm teaching myself currently is that inner self-talk is very, very important. It's like whenever you were younger, it's almost popular to talk down on yourself. And I think that if I could go back and redo anything in my life, it would be how I treated myself when I was younger. And I think that instead of like taking everything as like a loss or feeling like everything is the end of the world, it's truly just knowing that you are capable of whatever you put your mind to. No matter who says that you can't do it, you can do it if you feel like you can. So if anything, it's just like be patient with yourself. Know that your time comes when it comes. Don't compare yourself to the next person because there are people that I was comparing myself to then that, you know, I've surpassed in different ways and like vice versa. So I think that it's just important to really just focus on you, stay in your lane, create your own lanes, and know that whatever you put your mind to, you can truly do it.
All I have to say is give yourself grace and know that your teens and your 20s is about self-exploration. So don't get so hung up on what you see on social media. But what is real is the life that you live right now. Okay. And yeah, just concentrate on that, and then who comes to you will be because of those things. You don't go searching for love.
It really does find me. I know that's annoying because people told me that when I was younger. And we need love. But truly, like when you put in the work to be your best version of yourself, that's when you shine the brightest, and that's when you attract the love that you deserve.
So, be the light.
Be the light.
So good. I'll close this in just one final collective ending here, and it's an open-ended statement. I would love for us to answer as well. But leaving this space, how would we choose to answer that personally? Leaving this space, I have that.
Well, I'll take a stab. So leaving this space, I continue to be sure that love will find me. I continue to be sure that I deserve like love that accepts me for me. And leaving this space, I know the complicated win.
That's right.
Great statement.
I am in a season of fullness, and I just continue to feel full. I think the last 2 years, something about entering my 30s, and as I get ready to come up on 32, I just feel very full. I'm feeling more full from y'all. I already think I told y'all on our video call that I'm so excited, and this has been foundational. So it's reassured and just continue for this.
I think leaving this space, I just want to continue to move, full force. And I think that this conversation has validated me to, continue to take my dreams seriously. Even what y'all are doing today on this podcast, like this is y'all like taking your dreams seriously and pursuing something that's big. So I thank y'all for like reaching out to us, because I mean, this is you making your dreams a reality and trusting us with your platform to, you know, share a message with your audience as well. And that is so powerful in itself. So I hope that y'all realize how much power that you have, because you literally have a platform of people that are listening to you all put out curated messages, which I think is important. So I think that leaving the space, I hope that we all, you know, stay connected and stay pursuing our dreams and supporting each other as we pursue dreams, because I think that that is the most important piece that a lot of people are missing. It's like community is like also support. It's like people want to make everything a competition or whatever, and it's just like there's space for all of us to win. And indeed, like all of us will win when our brother wins. So, you know, I think that it was Jay-Z who said, you know, if everybody in your circle is broke, are you rich? So I think that I want to be able to leave this space and be a little bit more intentional about like not only building up my dreams, but also supporting the dreams of others.
You just reminded me about the Capricorn Cece. Issa, right? She has a quote, I literally just read it yesterday. Stop networking up and network across. Just connecting with each other and just building from there. Yeah.
It literally segues into what I was going to mention, as far as leaving the space with the sense of getting more into community. Because I feel like once you reach a cap of the abilities that you have, it's important to give back in a small or large way. And it does take connecting across and having moments like these. I always tell Chann, I love doing things like this because it solidifies it. Once I get older into a nursing home, I have some beautiful stories to tell about people who I've met around me. I always look at moments like this as this is what philosophers do, redefining. So as long as we take that energy and continue to put it out there, possibilities are endless.
I love that. I sit with that so much. And leaving this space, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to God and this higher spirit, this higher being that intentionally placed all of us on this couch to be able to need today, but also be able to communicate with others who need what they need by way of that camera right there. Stephen, thank you, Lord, for the camera. Thank you, Lord, for the camera. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a God who is so intentional with every detail of our lives.
Even us being on the same flight.
Yeah, I love it. But so grateful for that. I'm grateful for my friends that we get to change the world through conversation together, while also still like learning more about each other through this process. I'm grateful for your all's connection and what y'all are doing as a home, as a family, and our other special guests here today.
I got her.
I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful for love. I'm grateful for my man. I'm grateful for all the things. I'm even grateful because every piece of it matters. So I'm sitting in that tonight. So really intentional with my gratitude. So thank you all for your time. Thank you, Earl. Thank you, Ju, as always. Thank you all for watching. This has been another great episode, and we hope that this is essential to your own growth and development. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also share if you feel led to do so as well. And in closing, sending you lights and love. All right, what you gonna do? Do it.
Please drop all the things
Yeah.
that you want people to follow you on, just all the things.
Yeah, so you can find us on Chann Daily, mostly on TikTok, but Instagram, YouTube now. We just dropped our website, howsacred.com. And that is kind of where you'll get to learn who we are, what we do, all the 1,000 projects we're working on, and we're hoping to host events soon. So hopefully by the time this comes out, we will be well on our way to our first event on 11/23. We're having a Friendsgiving. So it's going to be a Charlotte-based event, and I'll make sure y'all have a ticket too. So,
All sponsored by the Little Team Kitchen.
that's his business. Yeah.
All of that will be listed below in the box.
And talk about the little solution.
So So the Littleton Kitchen is a curated experience of cultural divinity from all over the world. So you get a little bit of taste of everything, including the South, because again, that's where foundations lie. So you also get a learning lesson in between. So please follow the Littleton Kitchen.
All right, for real, closing out this time. Send y'all love, lights, and hope as always. Again, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Bye, y'all.